So these questions are for yourself. Why? Why you need to, I'm not going to ask every group to share. This is for yourself. Why? Because later you are going to write your own stories. We will see it, and it needs to be natural for your people. So you need to identify how the stories naturally in your language starts, continues, and how they end. So it's for yourself. You keep it there because later when you actually are going to write your first story, you need to have all this knowledge handy for you to work on. Right now, let's move on. And we are going to talk about culture. And we have another activity. That's why I'm saying every topic will have an activity. So we are not going to use the computers right now. It will be at the end, only for Bloom. Now, with a partner, make a list. Don't take too long thinking. Just someone like brainstorming. You just write. Make a list of all the different cultural information people from your group know. What are the events or maybe seasons? I think over there we're talking about durian and things like that. And then after you have written the list, you will put a check mark if those topics have been already written in a story or have been recorded in any way. Okay? So it's for you to know, our language, our Bidayuh doesn't have any book about this thing or about this other topic or etc. So start at this time. I only give you 5 minutes to do that. Just a list. I gave you some white paper, blank papers. You can use that. Make a list first of all the topics of your culture and your language or events. And then tick besides where there is already a book or any other form of recording of that topic. Okay, start now. Yeah, and some of these things, as I said, the workshop is made for a longer time, so in a normal setting you will have more time. But there are good conversations to start. Like someone said, you're starting to forget all those things that are part of your culture, but you're starting to lose because of the modern times. So one advantage of producing books in your community is that provides an opportunity for your language and culture to be recorded and shared. And you can use it to teach the children, the young people about the traditions of your culture. And also you can take pride of, this is my culture, this is everything that we have, and now it's formally recorded, and we can share not only with our community, but maybe with others too. So that's the importance to know all about this. And for you as writers, identifying which topics have not been written or help you to have topics to write about. Say, this is there's a whole of books about like hunting. Because for him, like hunting was the topic that brought up for him. Maybe he knows more about it. He can write a book about that. So that's how this exercise is helping to each one of us. Now we are going to have another writing experience. The first activity about recording an oral retelling is part of we call pre-writing process. And now that's one technique you can use before you actually write a story. Record yourself telling the story and then writing down the story again and help you think more about and polish and make it even nicer. Now we are going to use another technique to start or prepare a story. Why is important planning your story? Sometimes we attempt to write, like the first one, it took a lot of time for you, like, where's the story? No stories came to your mind. And sometimes it takes like, I'm not creative, or ourselves also put ourselves down and say, I cannot do this. So we need help. We need to have all these techniques to help us how to start a story. And sometimes we are thinking on how to write. We want to write it well, nicely, with no grammar errors and all that. And this time, we are going to use something called storyboard. A storyboard is is drawing. Instead of writing, we are going to draw the important parts of the story. So you can work in the same groups you are now. I don't know if the Beata would like to split in two, like the Syrian, they split it in two. There's another table here. You can sit here because you're going to use the big papers. So you need room in your tables. One thing I forgot is that each one of you needs to have one notebook. So this notebook will be your writing stories notebook. I'm not going to check it or grade it. It's for you. So you have all your ideas or your draft in one place. First, you need 10 squares in your big paper, in your mahjong paper, 10 squares. One person start thinking of the story where they are going to tell. A second person will draw on the squares as hearing what the other is telling. So you write the scenes from the story. Let's say, early in the morning, then someone draw a sun going up or a rooster, I don't know, and scenes from the story. And then another person will retell, after all the drawings are there, will retell what they see from the squares. And if you have 4, then the 4th one will write the story in the notebook. So I'm happy because I am seeing everyone is engaged with their stories. So it's a good thing that we are on the right track. Okay, one thing before we go to the parts of the story that I want to tell you is that this notebook, also should be for you to write your daily happenings. Why try it's not making a diary. It's for you to have a bank where you get topics for your next story. This book, you will write your daily happenings. I will not ask all the notebooks to grade them. So, for example, next weekend, you go back to your kampong, and then something happened there, and then, this could be a good story. So you take your notebook and start writing what happened that day. And then another time, we say, I don't know what to write about. You go to the notebook and say, look what happened this day. And then it helps you to get fresh ideas to write more stories. Okay, let's go back to the screen. We are going to see the parts of a story. At the beginning, we talked about how our culture tells stories. But in general, every culture have these 4 parts of the story. So it usually, the story introduces the characters, then follow this image, we have this line. And it goes up, then the action of the story begins, and the main problem, like the real happening, start developing until it reaches a climax. It's the most exciting part of the story. So you need to introduce your characters and start building up the excitement till you reach, oh, and it fell down from the tree. Oh, he fell down from the tree, something like that. Like something unexpected for the reader, and then the story concludes, goes to the end. So this is more or less how to make your story interesting, to start engaging the reader. So we need to start following more or less this structure to help us plan our story and then edit and do all the process. Remember, we're introducing who will be part of the story, or at least the main character, what's happened to them. Then suddenly something unexpected happened, and then it goes to the end. Also, something important is choosing your audience. A good writer writes to someone he or her wants to read and understand the story. Usually when we write for others, not for stories is for others to understand and read the story. So we need to have our audience in mind. Who I'm writing to? Like it could be a children, could be an adult, could be young people. And now we are going to think more about that. We need to think not only of the age of the person, but also what would they like. So I have 3 big papers there. So everyone, I hope everyone goes there. And I want you to write why they like to read. We have 3 groups there. We have children, we have youth, and we have adults.